God has been listening. It's so weird when you actually realize it. So here's my story for you guys. God uses our mistakes, to help us learn and grow. And I was talking to a friend this morning, and I was telling him about a mistake I had made. And I was telling him about this Bible story I read. And it was the Bible story of Sarah and Abraham in the Bible my friend was reading the story and he texted me about it, and then I told him my story about the story. And the story was and Sarah, when God was talking to Abraham, and he told Abraham that he was going to give them a child, and Sarah laughed in her heart, and God called her out. And he didn't let her believe a lie. Sarah scoffed in her mind because she believed a lie. She believed it was impossible for God to give her a baby and make her pregnant. That is a lie. She believed it. So she scoffed in her heart. And God called her out. Goes back to what the same friend and I were talking about. The original sin. The original sin for woman was believing a lie. And the original sin for man was not leading, was being quiet, was not standing up for the truth and for going along, not being willing to say, no, that's wrong. Instead, he went along with the woman. And he was silent, and he didn't tell her no. And in this moment, when Sarah laughed in her heart and she believed a lie, God instantly called her out. He lovingly but gently rebuked her. And he said, why did you laugh? And she goes, oh, I didn't laugh, Lord. And he goes, yes, you did. And so a while back, last year, I was doing escort work. And so I have a lot of opinions about men. And one of the opinions that I grew to develop through my time in the world, before I came home and realized, one of the things I learned or was taught is men want sex. I don't know if we're allowed to say that on Facebook. So maybe I'll have to say a different word instead of that. What should we call it? I don't know. Men love rosemary. Okay? And if you let a man sniff your rosemary, then he wants to eat your rosemary. Men, and it always leads to the man taking your rosemary and doing whatever he wants with your rosemary, eating it or whatever, because that's what men do and they can't help it. That's just their nature. They're lustful. They like rosemary so much, and they just want to do all sorts of perverted things with rosemary, with my rosemary. And I developed the opinion that if I ever went back, if I ever changed my mind and I wanted to give my rosemary away, and I wanted someone to abuse my rosemary and to do things, that I could get a man to do it, because they want to do it anyway, and so I could get them to do it, even if that man knew that in the moment I was making a mistake and I was in a moment of weakness and I really didn't want them to eat my rosemary or do anything to my rosemary or even touch my rosemary. But because I was having a moment of weakness, I believed a lie and I offered them my rosemary for some reason. And that's where I believed that there was no man that would say, no, that's a lie. You don't really want to give me, that's a lie. They would see that I believed a lie, and they would love me and respect me enough to call me out and to not take my rosemary, to say, no, you keep your rosemary. You need something else. That's not what, like, maybe you need some hot chocolate, some tea and a blanket and your sunflower turtle and a cuddle. Not to give me your rosemary. Maybe that's what you need. And I didn't believe there was a man that would do that. And so there was this one day, I was in church, and it was during worship. And I was listening to the words of the song, and I was talking to God in my head. And that idea, that concept popped into my mind, that there was a man out there who would protect me and who would be willing to do that. And I laughed, I scoffed in my heart. I remember it. I'm ashamed, so I'm sorry. I remember scoffing at God in my heart. And I was like, there is no man like that. Two days later, not 2 days later, maybe it was 2 days. I'm really bad with time, but it was really soon after. I was going with one of my very dear friends. And we were driving together. We were just chit-chat, basic little stuff. And I'm sitting there at one point, and I can see him start to think. And I can see him start to battle in his mind. And I'm like, he wants to say something, but he doesn't know if he wants to say it. I'm like, I wonder what it is. So I asked him, what's going on? What's... And he told me, he goes, I don't know what made me think of this. He goes, but I wanted to tell you. Because if you ever change, he goes, if you ever went back to how you were before and you tried to give me your rosemary, he goes, I would tell you no. He goes, I wouldn't take your rosemary. I wouldn't want your, he goes, I see who you were before. I see how you've changed. And I see that it's better. And he goes, I would never take your rosemary, even if you tried to give it to me, because I know that that's not what you need. And God brought up that memory of church and worship in my mind when he said that. And I felt so convicted in my heart. God's like, you're no better. He's right, I'm no better. It's so easy to read the stories in the Bible and to say, how could they do that? How could they fall for that? I'm no better. It's crazy how God can just bring stories around like that. And then he uses everything you read to teach you. Sometimes I get scared the more I read because I'm like, man, I messed up a lot. I got a lot of messes to clean up in my life. I've been in the world for so long. I have made an absolute disaster. So much of a mess. And I was looking at the next hurdle in my life and the next obstacle I have to overcome, because when you become a Christian, you can't fix everything at once. It's not how it works. But God will give you one thing at a time, and he's like, now we're working on this. Now we're working on this. It's like, you were gone for a long time, honey. You're pretty dirty. Let's wash you up a little bit. Oh, there, we got that arm clean. Here, let's wash this one over here. So I'm looking at the next area that I got in my life, the next problem that I created, the mess I made that God thinks I can clean up. And he thinks I'm handled to clean it up in a Christian manner. The Bible tells us God has faith in us. That scares me because I look at this mess I created in my life. But God doesn't have faith in us and trust us to be perfect. But he has faith and he trusts us that when we see the mistake, we clean it up the right way. And we be the good example of how to do it. Because we all make mistakes. We all mess up. We all fall down. But that's not the point. What do they say? We get back up. We climb back on that horse. We do it again. And then this time we do it a little different. We try to do it better. We do it right. We fix it. We do it the right way. So when you're feeling discouraged about your life being a mess, one thing at a time, read the Bible. God will help you through it. Talk about what you're reading with people. Start a community. The more you talk about it, the more it becomes alive and you can see God working. this is like bothering my OCD because those petals were going the wrong direction. But I didn't want to interrupt the video because I knew my train of thought was bad. But the more I talk about the things I read and try to apply the knowledge into my everyday life, the more I'm starting to be successful in, I can see God working. He's lining up the conversations. He's setting up the people who are willing to help and willing to work, and He's putting us all together. We just have to do it. He trusts us to do it the right way. So that's a lot of responsibility to live up to. And I don't know about you guys, but like, I don't really like letting people down, especially people I love. And I love God, and I love Jesus, and I love the Holy Spirit. I'll understand some of them about it a lot of times, but like, the love I feel, I can't explain it. And so, although I know I messed up a lot, He thinks I can do a good job cleaning up. And I've found in my experience in my life, I'm fairly clumsy. Don't have good depth perception. I spill things a lot. My hands just like to stop working and things fall out of them and make a mess. So like, I have learned to be really good at cleaning up. I also got fast reflexes now where I can catch things because I'm used to dropping them. So I'm used to trying to catch them. And then I like learned to have good reflexes because I'm so clumsy. So then like I learn to like, even though I make mistakes and even though I'm clumsy and I run into stuff, like now I learn to like not get hurt and to like avoid the mess that comes with it. And it's like the same thing now with the Bible and the truth in real life. Now I'm learning, oh, that's what that looks like. I'm going to avoid that. I'm going to go around it. I'm going to catch myself before I fall into the trap and make another mess. Because that's how God works. He helps us every day. The more you read His Word, the more you get into these things, the more you can learn, the more it's crazy. Like it's just crazy. I don't understand it. It blows my mind. And I'm going to say goodbye now. So I love you guys. He loves you more. Read the Bible and then let's talk about it. Check out my new website and let's talk Bible things. Love you guys. Have a great day.